Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. We are back again for another show this week. Sid, how are you?
I am doing just wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back. It's good to be, what do they say? Any day you're upright is a good day?
Something like that.
Something like that. And we're both upright. And I guess along those lines, our guest today is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. Good morning, James.
Hey, how we doing?
So you're also upright.
I am, yes.
Which is good,
Absolutely.
Well, before we get talking to James a little bit, let's talk about our sponsor, Sid.
Absolutely. Our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group, of which White Pine Funeral Services is a member too. And if you would like to learn more about our members, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com. And lastly, you can call me personally with suggestions for the show. Anyone you'd like to have us invite to talk about an interesting subject, call me at 435-512-6406. Almost butchered that one.
So Sid is learning her phone number.
Yes.
And we'll have it memorized by next week.
Oh, you're funny.
Thanks for sharing that. Well, James Stevens is the managing partner and funeral director for White Pine Funeral Services. And if you're wondering where that is the fancy funeral home that's on the south end of town. I don't know if that's in Logan or Providence. Is that?
It's a Logan address.
It's a Logan address. It's kind of Loganence, I guess.
Right on the Providence border.
Right
really,
on the
Providence River Heights and Logan border.
Yes, yeah. So welcome to the show today, James. Why don't you tell us a little bit about? That's kind of an interesting career to be involved with. What drew you in there?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. We love sponsoring this group and this show, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it. Funeral work, what drew me to it? I didn't necessarily have anything draw me to it initially. I kind of fell into it. When I had an opportunity to live at a funeral home for free in exchange for helping out, I took advantage of that opportunity for my newlywed wife and I. It was a smart financial decision, truthfully. And while I was there helping out, I loved it. Within a month or two of living there, I canceled a master's in business, decided to do a mortuary science degree, and jumped right in. And I've never looked back. It's a really, really great profession. But more than anything, what I enjoy about it is just serving people. That's really what it boils down to, is just you're taking care of somebody, not just those that pass, but those that have survived their loved ones, and caring for them and walking them through this process that is grief, that is trying to honor their loved one, but you're just helping people, and that's what brings me satisfaction and joy, and that's why I keep going back every day.
So how long have you been doing this now, James?
Oh, we're coming up on a decade. I lived at that funeral home for a couple of years, and I've been a licensed funeral director for over 6 years now. I've managed a few different facilities, one in Salt Lake, a couple back in Wisconsin, and now White Pine. So but this is kind of really my first shot at really being a part of the decision making and really controlling all of the operations with my partner, Mark. So,
where was that location? Was that here in Utah, or was that back
the funeral home that I lived at?
Yeah.
Webb Mortuary, up in Preston, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So just north end of the valley. I was still a student at Utah State while I was living there.
So one thing that comes to my mind, just because I've enjoyed visiting your property there at the south end of Logan, is that if somebody would like to come and have a look at that, they can do so, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have people walk in all the time. I had a lady walk in just the other day, her and her husband, just a sweet, sweet couple. They're just looking to plan for themselves and kind of get a few things in place. We probably talked for a couple hours, just answering their questions and kind of helping them put everything together. At the end of it, she asked me how much she owed me. I said, nothing. We're here to help answer questions, and until you pass away and need a funeral service, there's no bill. We don't charge for anyone who wants to come by and see the place and have questions answered. That's what we're there for.
It's funny, when I drive by, I have a little craving when I drive by that place, because they have just buckets of buttermints down there. And so I walk in and the buttermints are down there. I'm always, James, can I have some of these buttermints? He says, yes, fill your pockets up.
Oh, yeah. We get a few boxes every month, and we go through them fast.
If you like buttermints, then stop in at White Pine so you can see.
That's right.
But that's probably not the primary reason. Tell me about the planning services. Is that something that people would need to do by appointment? Because there's two reasons to stop in. One, somebody's passed away. I guess another reason might be curiosity, but maybe another reason might be they just want to get ahead a little bit and maybe do a plan or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we have people come in for all sorts of things, whether that's they want to design a headstone. We sell headstones. A lot of people come in for headstones for sure. People have questions about pre-planning, and whether that's pre-planning or actually somebody has passed and they need our assistance, we kind of go over the same stuff because that's essentially what they're pre-planning for. But everything from what they want to do as far as a service goes, what they want their program to look like for who's speaking and music and all that kind of stuff. We help families get their death certificates, and so we can gather all that information in advance. That can be a part of that pre-planning conversation. We help them order their flowers. They can pick that in advance. Caskets, vaults. I mean, really everything can be decided or at least recorded in advance, just so that their loved ones know what their wishes are. But we pretty much go over every detail, and we can help with anything. So
that'd be different from buying a funeral plan. This is just if someone wanted to come in and sit down and plan their.
Sure.
Is that something that costs, or is that just something that you guys do to help out, or how does that work?
No, that's a great point. So when people come in and want to pre-plan, that can mean a couple things. That might mean that they want to fund their funeral, but usually it just starts with, let's get our wishes recorded and start a file. And they get a copy of it, we keep a copy of it, and they don't necessarily need to fund it in advance. We do, once we know what they want, give them an estimate of what it would cost today to do that, and they can choose to fund it or not. Maybe they have a life insurance policy already that will cover it later on down the road. But really, in a nutshell, I mean, yeah, it can be whatever they want that appointment to be. And again, there is no charge.
Thank you, James. And we're already coming up on our first break, so I just want to invite our listeners that when we come back, we'll make sure to give James an opportunity to mention the phone number and the location for White Pine Funeral Homes in case anybody would be interested in getting in touch with you and sitting down for some funeral planning. Again, this is the Senior Moments Show. We are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com. And lastly, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406. We'll take a little break. Stay tuned.
Oh, it seems like yesterday I was playing with my kids on the playground.
Seems like yesterday I was building a treehouse in the backyard.
Time goes by too fast, but there is something you can do to ensure you're taken care of down the road. I'm Tracy Ferris with Quality First Insurance. A long-term care insurance policy is something we all need as we get older. If you wait until you need it, you're too late. Let me help you understand the options and benefits of long-term care insurance. Call me today, 435-752-0101.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a pre-arranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts pre-arranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
When it comes to successful aging, eating well matters. Staying physically active matters. Getting socially engaged matters. Living alone, aging alone, it's harder to consistently do that. Hi, this is Chris Grohl with Pioneer Valley Lodge, where we make it easier to do those things every day. Our mission at Pioneer Valley Lodge in North Logan is to help seniors live better, age more gracefully, and stay independent for as long as possible. Pioneer Valley Lodge, an independent living community for seniors.
Whether you have a small business, large corporation, or sole proprietorship, remember Cook Martin Polson has provided quality accounting services since 1977. At Cook Martin Polson, they believe you've earned it, and they're going to help you keep it. Take a minute right now to call 750-5566. That's 750-5566 to set up your tax appointment and let Cook Martin Polson show you how to keep the money you have earned.
This is Jared Ripplinger with Cook Martin Polson. You've worked hard for your money. Let us help you keep it.
This is Mark Thurston from White Pine Funeral Services. On behalf of all of us here at White Pine, we want to thank the community of Cache Valley for your support this past year. Thank you for selecting us as a silver winner for the Best of Northern Utah. We look forward to many more years of working with you here in our community. We know you have a choice, and we hope you will consider White Pine Funeral Services. If you have questions about cremation, funerals, or planning ahead, please contact us or visit whitepinefunerals.com.
White Pine Funeral Services. Here when you need us most.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we are speaking with James Stevens. He's the managing partner and funeral director at White Pine Funeral Services. And before we went to break, we were promising that we would get James's contact information if people would like to get in touch with White Pine or make an appointment or whatever. James?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're located there at the south end of Logan, close to Providence. My phone number, actually, I'll give you my cell number. Really, anybody's welcome to call me anytime. My cell number is 435-265-6899. And I'd also encourage people to check out our website. There's a lot of good information there and demonstrating what we offer at whitepinefunerals.com.
Sorry, Sid.
You take it.
Okay, I'll jump out. Well, we're just talking at the break. I'm so anxious to ask this question. I'm jumping out of my seat here. I'm just curious because, you think about what funerals might be and nobody really wants to go to those. And so they don't think about it too much more than they want to. But I'm curious, what a really inexpensive funeral might look like versus a really ornate funeral might look like. Can you give me maybe some stories there?
Sure. The reality is there's a million ways to do a funeral. I think, 8-9 times out of 10, people do things pretty traditionally, especially here in Cache Valley. But if you're wanting to do things a little more affordably, you can do what we call an immediate burial. It really cuts the professional services fee in half. And it's just a really, really basic, simple graveside service. There's no viewing, there's no visitation, there's no chapel service. Really, really basic. And of course, ornate would be a full traditional funeral with really fancy merchandise. I mean, I tell families all the time, caskets start at $1,500 roughly, and they go up to far more than anybody would ever want to spend. and the same holds true for urns. And if you're looking to do a cremation, if that's your option, you can do things very, very basic. We really only provide the cremation, and then maybe you go to the funeral on your own. Maybe that's at home, maybe that's at a church. We encourage families to consider at least having us be there and involved because we know what we're doing, and we'll take a lot of load off. But that can be very, very basic, very simple. So really there are options, and a lot of people who express funerals are expensive. There are ways to make it more affordable. Depends on what casket you choose, depends on what vault you choose, it depends on what type of service you choose, but everything from a very, very basic, simple cremation and or direct burial, if you're doing a casket burial, all the way up to a full-blown funeral with really, really expensive taste. So it just depends.
So what's a typical, just for our listeners that have maybe never spoken to anyone, what is a typical price range you're seeing?
Sure. I would say on average, families will spend somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 at the funeral home. And then in addition to that, and it's important to separate these two because that's the funeral home charge. If they're doing a traditional casket burial, it could even be less than that, depending on their taste. But if they are wanting to do things traditionally, that's a pretty good estimate. What is separated, and we include it in our bill, but it's important to recognize that it's not our charge, is things like flowers and death certificates and obituaries and the interment fee at the cemetery. We put that all on the funeral bill to make it convenient for the family. They only have one bill to pay. But when you add all that in, it's not uncommon to see it go over $10,000. But 8 to 10 at the funeral home, really would be average, and that's for a casket burial. If you're looking at cremation, it could be as little as about $2,000. If you're looking to do it on your own, just want us to provide the cremation, and it can be more than that as well. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but you can do a open casket viewing followed by cremation if you're interested in cremation but still want to be able to do a viewing. We use what's called a rental casket, and that's a term a lot of people think is funny, but it's a thing. All funeral homes offer it. So
interesting. Yeah, specific to White Pine, making a decision on how to choose a funeral home, where do you guys consider yourself price-wise, competing in the market, and what are things that people should be thinking about as they ask questions and are evaluating how to make a decision there?
Yeah, great question. So I would say at the end of the day, when you get the final bill, we're going to be middle of the road here in Cache Valley. And really, if you just look at our price list at a glance, it might look like we're on the high end, but we include everything that we offer as far as services, things like register book, custom programs, our aftercare program that was touched on last time with Sid and Melanie. All of that is built into our services fee. So we don't nickel and dime. There's nothing extra. So when you take that into account, we fall kind of right in the middle. I know that there are funeral homes in town that are more expensive. I know that there are funeral homes in town that are a little bit less. But really, it's all within $1,000 of each other. I mean, everybody's really pretty close. Even those that advertise they're affordable, it's not that big of a difference considering what you get at White Pine that you don't elsewhere.
Thank you, James. And maybe we can just briefly touch on, for our listeners that maybe didn't catch the show with Melanie, on some of the things that are in the aftercare package there.
Yeah. So Melanie sits down with every family that we serve, and maybe that's in person, maybe that's over the phone. She will walk them through and do a lot of it for them. Things like notifying Social Security, helping get everything organized there, military benefits, contacting the VA, freezing their loved one's credit to protect from identity theft, even little things that you wouldn't think of, stopping junk mail. I mean, all kinds of stuff, helping with insurance policies, helping contact OPM. I mean, there are so many things that she can help with that are tremendously helpful that you just wouldn't know how to do because you've maybe only ever done it once before. This is probably your first time. So.
Well, I know we're coming up on the next break. Maybe this would be a good point to get that contact information one more time.
Sure. For
somebody who might want to. Well, I guess they don't need to schedule a visit because they can just come down and stop by anytime, right?
Right. It's never a bad thing to schedule it, but just so to make sure you don't miss us. But my cell number is 435-265-6899. You're welcome to call me anytime. And we're down on the south end of Logan. The address is 753 South, 100 East. Just right there on First East as you go by Conservice.
Yeah, it's right across the street, right?
Yep, exactly. You can't miss it. Big, beautiful building.
Thank you, James. Again, this is the Senior Moments Show. We're visiting with James Stevens. He is the managing partner and funeral director at White Pine Funeral Services here in Logan, and also a member of the Empowering Seniors Group, which sponsors our show. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info. Or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And again, lastly, if you have suggestions for us, you can reach me at 435-512-6406. We're going to take a little break. Stay tuned.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. Each day, our nurses, CNAs, cooks and servers, housekeepers, laundry staff, music, recreation therapy teams, office staff, receptionists, and many more arrive around the clock. These heroes show up ready and willing to serve and protect our residents and clients. We are so grateful to our dedicated team. On behalf of the Board of Sunshine Terrace Foundation and our community, thank you to all of our employees for keeping us safe. We bring more to life together.
If you're retired or plan to retire soon, will you outlive your money or will your money outlive you? If you don't know the answer, I can help. Hi, I'm Patty Bartholomew, a financial consultant with Parsonex Securities. If you have questions about your financial plan or just need a second opinion, call me today at 435-227-5556.
Investments are not FDIC insured, nor are they deposits of or guaranteed by a bank or any other entity, so they may lose value. Investors should carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the funds. This and other important information is contained in each fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, which can be obtained from a financial professional non-traditional and should be read carefully before investing. Securities offered through Parsonex Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, 8310 South Valley Highway, Suite 110, Inglewood, Colorado, 80112-303-662-8700.
Did you know that one of the greatest threats to our quality of life is a fall? 1/3 of Americans 65 and older, and 1/2 of those over 80 will fall this year. Many will never be the same again, and some will never return to their homes. This is Bruce at Comfort Care. One of the ways we can help people stay in their home is through our free in-home fall protection survey. Let us help you identify these fall risks. Call us at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
Want an inexperienced surgeon?
Okay, nurse, I'm ready for the scalpel.
How about an inexperienced airline pilot?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain, and I'm terrified.
Experience matters, and we have it.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I am a senior real estate specialist.
I'd love to meet with you face-to-face and give you a free consultation and market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week, Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we are talking with James Stevens. He is the managing partner and funeral director for White Pine Funeral Services. And we've covered a lot of territory, but we're still in we're kind of getting to the end of hopefully this COVID fiasco that we've been going through for the past couple of years. And so I don't like to say it out loud because I want it to go away. But I'm curious how that's impacted your business, because it's impacted almost every business out there. So what are you seeing with COVID and families and funerals?
Great question, Bruce. It has definitely impacted the industry, and for a time, as many people are aware, numbers were extremely limited, as low as 10 to the number that could attend the funeral. That's not the case anymore. I know that there are a handful of families here and there that like to do things privately still. We don't really have any requirements. Nothing is imposed upon us by the state. So we can kind of do whatever families want to do. And that's the direction we've gone. If a family wants us to be especially cautious, if they want restrictions imposed, if they want masks required, we will do that. If not, it's pretty standard. It's pretty much back to the way things were. So we can go to church. We have been able to for over a year. We can do it at our funeral home. Yeah, it's really, really nice. The one big change for us that's kind of lasted is broadcasting funerals, whether that's via Zoom or YouTube or Facebook. But we do broadcast a lot of funerals, probably 80 to 90% of
that
families.
Probably won't go away now.
I don't think so. And families have learned that that's just a tremendous gift to allow more people to be a part of it. Maybe you have a son on a mission. Maybe you have, a family member that lives in England that can't attend, or whatever it might be. But there's always somebody who would like to be able to attend. And even if it's just for that one or two people, it's pretty common to see 10, 20, 30 people watching the funeral on Zoom.
Do you ever have people participate remotely with the broadcast?
We have done that. It definitely gets a little bit tricky. I can think of one, for example, a family we served. They were Tongan, and half the family was in Tonga, and we were able to have a few speakers from there be a part of it. Yeah, absolutely. We've figured out how to make that work.
Interesting how the world adapts. But James, there's one thing we haven't touched on that I always find when I'm talking with people about that subject that I think is notably, because I have working in real estate, I have clients that move in from other states, and that is transferability of something that you already have paid for.
Sure. It's very, very simple. Yes, if you have a client who has moved here from Oklahoma, if they bought a pre-planned funeral there, they can transfer it here. No funeral home is going to tell them they can't do that. It is a little bit less common to see somebody pre-plan at funeral home A here in town and want to switch to funeral home B just down the road. Where we're new in town, we've actually seen that a lot, though. We've had easily a dozen families or more call us and say, hey, we had planned at so-and-so, but we want to use you guys. We've heard great things about you. And we go through that process with them. It's very, very simple. It really doesn't require a lot of effort on their part. They don't even have to notify that funeral home. We'll take care of it. But I know that there are some of those families who have been told they'll lose some of their money depending on how that money was set aside and secured. While that is true, we're actually matching with a discount to ensure that they don't really lose any money. We are honoring funeral plans that from anywhere and taking care of families regardless of where they've pre-planned.
So if you do pre-planning, one of the things I might be concerned about, especially if I did something now, is like, we move in the future and we're going to go, I don't know, who knows where. What do I take with me, or what would I have that I could take to someplace else and say, we did this planning, or how does that work?
Sure.
Someplace else?
Anytime you've pre-planned, you're definitely going to have a record of it. You should have a copy of the policy that you've received, and you can take that to the funeral home. Even if you don't have that, we help families figure it out all the time that don't have anything. They come in and say, hey, we pre-planned with funeral home XYZ. We'll call them, we'll figure it out, we'll get it all taken care of. So even if you don't have anything, we can still make it work. But usually you should have a copy of that policy. That's all you would need to bring in.
And so just to be clear here, because we've talked before about the different costs, so it would just match the cost and some of the general guidelines
Right.
of what was picked, correct?
Right. So if you pre-planned your casket, vault, and services at another funeral home, and then you come to us, we guarantee those particular items that you've already paid for, you're not going to pay any extra money, even if that funeral home's telling you you're going to lose a little bit of your money. So.
Okay.
We're almost out of time, but just real quick, what's your favorite thing about doing what you do?
Oh, man.
In 30 seconds or less.
It's just, like I said before, you're just helping people. And people all the time, when they come to me after the funeral, they say, James, and I know my partner Mark hears it all the time, we really appreciate what you've done for us. It's made this whole process a whole lot easier than it could have been. Thank you so much. That's what we want. We just want families to know that we're there for them. So.
Thank you, James. And on that note, let's have your contact information one more time.
Sure. Yeah. James Stevens with White Pine. My cell number is 435-265-6899.
Thank you so much for coming in, James. I think, again, we learned a lot. And if our listeners are interested, go contact White Pine Funeral Services. This is the Senior Moment Show. We are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info or email us at empoweringseniors.cv@gmail.com. And the CV stands for Cache Valley. We hope you tune in again next week.